Steelers.com. Downtown Hartford on a Friday night. The folks filing in to People Hawks. As we welcome you courtside, part of a 4-game night on Peacock, everybody. I'm John Fitz. Great to be back with my partner.
When you know if you don't defend, you don't stay on the floor.
Year 8 for head coach Dan Hurley. Story out of UMass Lowell. Pat Duquette is in his 13th season. Donnie, his teams typically are in the top 100.
Yeah.
Number 5 for the Huskies. Back on the tip, but it belongs to UMass Lowell. It'll be Daryl. UMass Lowell team got a lot of different contributions in their opener. That one doesn't fall for Sean Sitt.
They're going to have to move that basketball. The communication is usually the hardest part when you got a bunch of new guys, John.
Caravan had the double-double in his season debut. Reed on the cleanup. Welcome back, Terrace Reed.
Yeah, you get around. That's what scouts want to see, and then obviously Reed with the putback.
A foul on Silas Demery.
By him, now there's a lot of reaching. Other guys now break down behind him. But that's why they brought him here. You know, there's no phenomenal career here at UConn. We know that. But Demery's not the same player.
The Phillies, after helping Georgia to an NCAA tournament. That 3 just off the side of the rim for Yepto.
He's another guy. Last year, 92% of his three-pointers were assisted. Signed for Ball and obviously UConn.
And offensive excellence for Ball last year.
We know Solo Ball already has had a phenomenal career. I love the fact that he's putting that ball down to find him. He's got to find it on his own this year.
41% from 3 a year ago, and that's the threat of a shooter, Donnie.
Yeah, you get the defense's attention because he's already made one. Late recover, and it wasn't good for us defensively because you were gonna crowd him a little too much, and that's what happened there.
You're told to listen.
Yeah.
He goes, now I'm being told to talk.
Yeah. You know, the great, I couldn't do that, so it took me a little bit longer.
I was going to say,
it was the opposite. Speak up, you got to step up.
Little runner doesn't fall. It's funny because Ray Allen was and Dan Hurley's asking for that to count.
It's him defensively, excuse me, on the offensive end. He still has to find that balance of, if you've seen him throughout his career.
2 years at Georgia. Double Virginia State, ended up playing 7 years in the Arena Football League. You can see that in the toughness.
You have a different perspective, your work ethic, what you eat, how you take care of your body, but also the strength.
Tough start. This is Green. He was the lead man in the season opener, and he gets fouled on the take. Fouled by Caravan. Dan Hurley said that's just it. We gotta contain.
Forcing turnovers, they would foul. You know, and I thought Reed did a pretty good job of staying in front, sliding his feet. That's just overhelping. But when it leads to a foul, it slows everything down. You can't get into a rhythm. But the reach-ins are the ones that hurt you the most.
Got it. Years prior when they won national titles, you're talking top 15 each season.
Have to continue to be strong at that end of the floor.
Look at the strength of Terrace Reed.
And there's a perspective you gain when you're...
Well, and then you see what his coach does. There's still a lid on the bucket for the Riverhawks.
You know, he doesn't berate his players out here on the floor. Maybe in the locker room we don't see that. As with the refs, Coach Hurley, he does care for his players, and every player will tell you that.
His players en route to championships, but this Connecticut team, to your point on retention, they return nearly 6.
Getting them on the floor. We've seen that happen. It happens every single year. Coaches try to find things in there.
So excited about it. You see that first step, and then glides in for a jam. Jalen Stewart.
Saw an offensive rebound. He really has, it's early in the season, but he's positive minutes to the Huskies.
Solo ball from downtown.
The rotation on the...
Off that, what Dan Hurley called an excruciating opener. Demery with the ball. And that number next to their name, 4. A blocking foul here.
With all the criticism of Dan Hurley, he's not fake. I mean,
he gets it. Today in college basketball, it's close to an NBA experience in terms of going to be true to these guys.
It just adds another wrinkle into the fold when a little more delicate.
Weaving his way through and one. Malachi Smith, the Dayton transfer.
Guard play. How do we put guards out here around all of our wings and our bigs? It's man of the year category in terms of what he brings off the bench. You know, now.
Well, and you know, we always say, who'd you play for beforehand? 4-year player at Dayton for Coach Grant.
And UConn has that portal pedigree.
Spencer. Short.
When we asked him just that, what are you looking for in a game like this? He said, I want us, look, you got to continue to fight. Got guys out here who have some pride. They just have to continue to to say the right words on defense. But on the offensive end, everyone knows how to speak that language. So
there's Caravan with the deflection. 15 on the shot for UMass Lowell. So they're trying to figure each other out. Corner 3 is off the side of the backboard.
If you want to win a championship, guys have to come in and play the right way.
Gonna stay with the Riverhawks.
Looking, it's almost like that quarterback that's checking. He's checking down, no one's there, steps behind.
Jump shot, as that's a travel.
And when you have talent, it's hard is on that UConn bench. So when they go out and they say, we need guys who can score, defend, make the. He doesn't, but you know.
Oh boy! Oh, and one for Smith.
Double team from Jalen Stewart. So many players focus on getting fouled before making.
It's a year ago at the Maui Invitational at 9 points when Dayton took down UConn.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Just have not had any sort of a rhythm as Spencer's off on the 3. Jaden, pretty good defense by the Riverhawks. Ross, that's a tough shot. You play 29 seconds.
Athleticism by Jaden Ross, getting his body back, squared up, and
gliding in. A lot of contact. Back to on fire. His team is just that thus far tonight.
The reigning national champs, Florida. So I would say, no complaining. 4 of these games.
Arizona, you get Texas at home, inside to Reed. He lays it up and in.
Something tells me, though, especially when you look at St. John's, who to me is one of the top 1.
We'll talk more about the Johnnies later in the show.
Man.
We're off to New York City tomorrow.
Great teams, power teams.
Why be afraid, you know? Like,
well, I mean, Dick Vitale back in the undefeated heading into conference play.
Reed with a little Euro. Terrace Reed.
Yes.
How about the pursuit by Smith? He couldn't hit, but Dan Hurley will be
what it needs. Defensively steps in. He's just so smart, at least spatial. Well, might be feeling it a little bit now. Maybe tomorrow he'll feel that a little bit more, but he's young.
On the family, Donnie and Jalen Cousins and Jalen Stewart.
Received?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, again, it's not, for me, it's not in this end. They're focused on getting it to Terrace Reed inside. I mean, they're playing.
Do you like that Pat Duquette has elected to just play things out? He has not used a timeout. Times tonight he said, say the rosary.
Yeah. I think Brian O'Connell maybe just a little winded there. I think that's why he called that foul. I don't know. I don't either there.
Your relationship with the officials.
Let them do their job. I mean, again, I'm not telling you it's do as I say, not as I did. You know, and I would also say let the coaches have the battle with the officials. You got enough to worry about.
Well, Austin Green to the line, and this is a kid who transfers in from Texas State. I asked Pat. They like to play fast to the Riverhawks, and that's
the net every time down the floor.
Demery stops, pops, and drops it home.
Again, he has that in his game. One of the best, if not the best, ever.
Fry, the Stony Brook transfer. And we have this note. This is what UConn is trying to achieve tonight. Fewest points allowed in a half. That's a lot.
Well, something tells me that the fans probably enjoyed that one more than they're enjoying this one. Just, it's interesting because we asked Pat Duquette, do you have a relationship with?
Here's the good news. You get a check. Alex Caravan attacks. Correct, yes. Here comes Caravan in transition.
Give it back.
Number 11 slams it down. A beloved Husky.
That's what's going to happen. You just want to be in that situation where you let go. And players are afraid. Hardwood.
And Donnie now, in a position like this, is Fry whole problem last year. struggled to remain healthy throughout the year. And there's the first made field goal. It is awesome. Oh, and you know, Pat Duquette said it. He goes, the lights come on.
Yeah.
This type of stage, my guys are so excited.
Easy for either team. It really isn't.
Jalen Stewart. That's that shot-making ability. 2 flight 23s in Hartford tonight. 8 on the shot clock. Attacking, it's going the other way.
Yeah. Huge lead, John. They're stepping in. They're continuing to play the right way. It says a lot about, you know, how
message that if you do show a lapse in focus, it leads the film session. Even one smart. Reed with the offensive board. He'll go in the first at Connecticut. You know, Donnie, his tenure, what he's grown it into, it's remarkable.
Back in the woods. They have done a nice job of refurbishing this building here. It looks amazing. It's more fun to come to work when things are new. Less roaches in there than what we had. And a couple of big mice. I think they call them rats, but there it is. It does look amazing. The lounge in the back, it's up. I don't care how big they were on the sink. You'd hang it on a hook. No one. It was fun. They were fun times.
Are your ears okay?
You know,
Spencer to the line. Foul is on Terrace Reed. Xavier's
it's terrific. I think it's chapter 11, chapter 12. I think was my favorite chapter. That's awesome.
Entry to Ryba and turned over. Massaquoi hits the first. Sunday night, C and Peacock. Rodgers and the Steelers got a statement win over the Colts.
At halftime, you tell your guys, listen, don't worry about the score. We're going to...
In and out. Ride cannot clean it up.
See, I'd like to see Jalen Stewart finish that. You know, you're selfish. Well, he already knows that.
Ryba on the catch with the left hand. What do you see with Eric?
There's a silver lining to it. He got minutes. He got reps.
Look at the speed of Smith.
To the fire, you just have to go and play. There you see the new Huskies. In general, are going to love watching him play. Tremendous shooter, terrific athlete.
5-star, a couple 4-stars. There's Ryba. He lays it in. It's a top 10 recruiting class.
Solid programs. That is the recipe or the ingredients for championships.
So they will not pass that historic mark tonight, but man, they came close. 5 seconds to go. Kick out, deep 3, and that's exactly what they needed. Something to go to lead in UConn history. Jack and the gang will break it down next on the G-Path.
Looked comfortable. Defensively, I thought he was in the right spots. He was communicating. That thing that Coach Hurley has always asked of his upperclassmen, listen, communicate, be where you're supposed to be, but his win looked really good to me. And there's a difference, John. There's a difference between riding the bike, trying to get yourself back, and actual playing and being on the floor.
So let's flip this for a moment. If you were Pat Duquette and you pulled your guys into the locker room at halftime, what would you have said to them?
That wasn't us. Listen, UConn's a very good team, but we have to stand in front of guys. We have to defend, and we have to continue to move the basketball on offense. That was not UMass Lowell basketball. That's what you have to tell your guys. We go out here 4 minutes at a time. That's what I want.
Williams College graduate, turned 55 on Tuesday. Yes, his older brother, you hear the Duquette name, you think of baseball. His older brother, Jim Duquette, his cousin Dan Duquette, former MLB general managers. See Jim do a variety of media stuff as well. 13th year for Pat. And he's led this program to 3 consecutive winning seasons. They believe they'll have one of those this year. Now they just want to have a better showing in the final 20 minutes, because what we saw from Connecticut in that first half was absolutely superb.
Yeah, both ends of the floor, but it started on defense, and they continued to move the basketball. I'm telling you, games like this, I was trying to get career highs. These players they're much better than I was.
Solo ball scores it. You were telling a story about that earlier today when you had a big night. in a game that Coach Calhoun didn't know how the team was going to score.
Yeah, they didn't have Ray Allen, and they had this little punk from Federal Way, Washington, had a career high. Ray Allen, who?
Austin Green laying in for the Riverhawks. Out of the America East Conference, making the title game 2 years ago and the year before that as well. Demery, Silas.
How about the seal? You know, earlier in the game, there was a steal by Demery, and Terrace Reed went to double about 5 feet from midcourt, and it gave the guard on the other side, I think it was Yepto, it just made him pause, steal other way. So, you know, Terrace Reed is changing kind of how this game started, and then even this half. You know, a nice seal there. You're allowing guys to get to their spots, but he really gives them so much. He just has to continue to be that grizzly bear for them all season long. They need him.
The Kodiak Bear, as he's noted in their game notes. That's Jared Fry, the Stony Brook transfer. Played for Geno Ford, now at UMass Lowell. They love his shot making.
I mean, you're a Jersey guy, but I live in the country in Connecticut.
Yes, you do.
We say if it's brown, get down. If it's black, fight back. You got to be they want Terrace Reed to be a black bear, not a brown bear. Brown, get down. Black, fight back.
He is such a force, and it's interesting because they think they can get him to a level that he didn't even know he was capable of.
Yeah. A Kodiak Bear is brown.
It was listed in the game notes. It's just beyond my intelligence level for a bachelor's degree.
So brown is get down. I think I said that wrong. Brown, you get down. You don't want to move. Black, you can fight back. So we want him to be a brown bear. That's who they're looking for.
He is special.
There you go.
There's a three for the Riverhawks. Daryl Yepto.
I remember Yepto did not play all last season. Was out with an Achilles. So all this is kind of new to him. This gameplay.
A feed to Terrace Reed from Silas Demery. And Dan Hurley will call time. He has a long look to his guys. Oh my. I mean, we'll just present that without comment in a 70-25 game.
I've been in games like this where we're blowing a team out. You're trying to play the right way, but it's sometimes things are just so easy for you individually that you get off target, you get off track a little bit, and you try to do your own thing. I guarantee you these players would much rather be in a 5-point game on both sides.
Foul on Reed. And his second. Well, the Connecticut Huskies rolling tonight. We talked with Dan Hurley earlier today about the state of the Big East. That one is off for Yepto. And he said, look, we know what ourselves, what St. John's, certainly what Creighton's become, what Marquette's even been consistently. He said, the other teams in the league, can they step up and win some games of consequence early in the season? So he'll be happy to read because we talked about him this morning. He said, look, Georgetown, Maryland, big game for Coach Cooley. Georgetown beats Maryland in College Park by 10. Your thoughts?
It's important for Georgetown recruiting in the DMV area. It's, you know, listen, Buzz Williams is going to get that team going. It's a lot of new players, much like we see UMass Lowell here, entirely brand new team, but on paper, Georgetown beating Maryland is huge. It's huge for their program. It's huge for the conference.
One of our Big East highlights comes on Valentine's night in Connecticut when the Huskies will welcome Ed Cooley and the Hoyas. Part of our increased Big East coverage this year on Peacock and NBC. Big 10 and Big 12, a 4-game night. Illinois and FGCU underway as well tonight. Purdue in action. It's Fry is fouled on the take. And you talk about Georgetown, let's look at the conference. So I'll ask you this. Who do you think may be getting slept on?
Yeah, I would say, listen, I mean, Marquette, to me, when you talk about retention, you talk about bringing guys back and building, there still has to be some value in keeping guys and developing guys. It can't just all be a free-for-all, you know, pay for play, whatever you want to call it, go in the portal. There's got to be still some value in keeping guys. So I think Shaka Smart and Marquette. I also think Kevin Willard is going to surprise a lot of people. His style of play, guys want to play that way. He's got a lot of support from that program at Villanova. So
to Reed with authority.
I am telling you right now, Harris Reed is playing like he has not skipped a beat. And maybe him being out has helped him see things, maybe different perspective. Maybe he needed more time to get his body together, whatever it is. And look, it's not just about the competition. I get it. You're beating a team that you're far more superior than. But he just looks good. He looks to be moving really, really well. He's alert. He's spry, I guess would be the way I would put it.
Fouled by solo ball.
Again, I'm not a guy who bases success on results. It's your performance. You know, I think his performance looks really good right now.
It sure has been tonight as Simmons is off on the first. How about this tomorrow? Navy, Notre Dame, under the lights in prime time in South Bend. Live on NBC and Peacock, Notre Dame football, presented by Discover and the Irish C.J. Carr, Jeremiah Love and company. Ranked 10th in first college football playoff rankings. We'll have them tomorrow night. Ohio State at the top. Driving in, Silas Demery. He's looked the part tonight with 10 points and 7 assists.
I think one of Dan Hurley's quotes in the offseason about how they finished last year, he said he thinks it was a lack of discipline. He said he did not do a good job of coaching discipline with his players. So when you see him covering his mouth, yelling at his players in a blowout game, that's him trying to teach that discipline no matter what the score is.
Well, we'll have something coming up on the show about what Dan Hurley learned about himself last year. All Huskies tonight. Sure. What did he learn about himself throughout that experience? Here's what he told us at Big East Media Day.
I just think for me, my priorities, I think got a little bit out of whack as a coach. I think you know, the internal pressure that you put on yourself to continue to win at that level, to win a third straight championship, and the kind of the monster that you become in pursuit of that third straight championship, you know, set the ego off, I think, in a bad way, and maybe just you know, got me away from maybe my priorities as a coach. I think you know, my pursuit of this year's Big East regular season or Big East tournament or the national championship or Final Four, it's not going to be any less urgent. But I thought what this year taught me was that a lot of the things that I got into coaching for, the special connection with the players, you know, those relationships, being part of a group that's unified and connected, that cares about each other. Like, it's okay to kind of take some joy in those things too, while you're in a life or death pursuit of championships. And I think I forgot about the relationship part.
I mean, it sounds a lot like the guy that I played for, when you're so single-mindedly just focused on one thing, and that's winning. You kind of lose track of, especially as a head coach. As a player, it's a little different. But as a head coach, at least my close friends who are head coaches in the NBA and in college, they've said the same thing. You want to win so badly, is you forget about your relationships. You forget about making that phone call to someone who maybe sent you a text to say great game, or you forget about those important things that got you to that level. And I think he did a good job this summer of steadying himself, getting himself back on balance. Could have been writing that book that also helped. Kind of just that introspective kind of look at yourself and see how you can better yourself. And we know that's what he's all about, and that's what he teaches his guys.
Well, he wrote in Never Stop, Life, Leaderships, and Lessons on What It Takes to Be Great, a book with Ian O'Connor, a fabulous writer.
Yeah.
He wrote that he gave thought to going into TV after last season that he had just thought about that love for the game, why he got into it, the chaos of the offseason. And he said, well, why keep driving forward? And he used that word again, Donnie, relationships,
yeah.
which you can reflect on any time you're with your teammates. That's when you can get that text or that call from your teammate of, hey, we're getting married, hey, we're having kids. And Coach Calhoun shows that love after you're done playing. It's different.
I thought it was interesting talking to him years ago. He wasn't really into golf. I saw him on the golf course at my place a few times this summer. Coach Hurley. Yeah. Saw him out there, Glastonbury Hills. You know where to find me. Coach Hurley was out there. My assessment went up after he left the course. It was chopped up, I told him.
Yeah.
Know how to put his divots back, but it's just, again, showing how he's grown.
Yes.
He's teaching his players to grow and mature. He's still doing that even as a coach. You need to take some time for yourself.
You do. If you don't, in this chaos that is the offseason, the coaches can't wait for the games, as that was shut down by Demery Spencer with a tough shot.
I love the pace that Connecticut continues to play at.
Into Ryba, the freshman, is fouled.
And that's part of his game. I think he will get patience, Ryba, and then also balance. Sometimes when you come from high school, you don't have that patience that you need at this level. You know, you have to remind big guys, no one can do anything until you decide what to do with the basketball. Take your time.
Well, the NBA is on NBC and Peacock. Monday nights, it's Peacock NBA Monday. You've seen that fun on the bench action. Then Tuesdays in prime time, it's Coast to Coast Tuesday on NBC and Peacock. And this Monday on Peacock, it'll be the Wizards and Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons. Pistons off to a really sharp start to the season.
Cade Cunningham is what we always thought he would be. Even when you saw him that short time he was in college, such a special player. Built for the NBA, even when he was in school.
Went off the foot of Smith. Into the hands of Jalen Stewart. So many extra passes tonight, Donnie.
That's a block.
And that is what's called.
You know, you have to understand when you're playing in these games, when it's gets out of hand, that you're playing not just to win this game, but you're playing to establish who you are. A really nice move there by Smith, trying to sidestep the defender, but trying to continue to create good habits. You know, it's not second nature, it's first nature. It's what you initially feel when you step on the floor. Extra pass leading to a great shot.
Nathan Hall had that foul call with Tony Chiazza. Brian O'Connell tonight, veteran crew and new to college basketball this year. The challenge system, do you like it?
I do. I think you just have to be strategic with it. You know, you can't look at a player who's spinning his finger in the air. A lot of coaches look at their players do that and say, yeah, can we look at it? You can't. You really have to know the player and be in the situation if you're going to ask for a challenge.
Coaches.
But I like it. I like the continuation as well.
Yes.
I think it's long overdue.
Definitely closer to NBA continuation, which just seemed like it's been years in the making.
I'd still like to see a jump ball, though.
A real jump ball.
A real jump ball, not the possession arrow. Just throw the ball up.
Steal, this time by Xavier Spencer, up ahead. Not many easy looks tonight, but that's one of them. J.J. Massaquoi, the freshman, they love his 6'6" frame. He's from Maryland. Again, coaches can challenge on out-of-bounds calls, which officials can no longer just look every time in the last 2 minutes. Calendar long. They can also challenge on goaltending outside of 2 minutes, and then the restricted area on those block charge calls. Scramble here, bodies to the deck. And we get a foul on the Riverhawks with Dan Hurley going to pick his guy up. An 84-33, 51-point Connecticut lead tonight in Hartford. Wow.
Koa to me plays with a balance and a patience of a senior, almost like a grad student. He really is just so balanced and strong, and you think he's undersized, but he just plays so much bigger. They're all special, though. It is the year of the freshmen.
Yes, it is.
Boy, oh boy.
Speaking of which, North Carolina about to beat Kansas. It just went final, 87-74. Caleb Wilson for Carolina had 24-7, 4 assists, 4 steals. Don't forget about him either. And don't forget about Mr. Millender, Alec Millender.
You know, he's one of those guys I think could be an unsung hero for UConn. And not going to probably play a ton of minutes, but every time he's in the game, he has shown that plays with energy. He's another veteran, guy who's kind of been around. He's a good voice in the locker room. And doesn't try to do anything he can't do, you know, in terms of, you know, just keeps it simple, plays within himself. I really like Alec. I think he's going to be an awesome piece for UConn this year.
Older sister Ashton played in the Big East at DePaul. And now he's in the Big East at Connecticut Caravan. Short this time. Speaking of freshmen, you could go back to Friday, November 22nd, 1991, the freshman debut of one Donnie Marshall. And maybe if Scott Burrell had shared you the ball, you would have scored more than 4 points.
Oh, man. Then not only that, there were 7 other freshmen with me trying to get touches. We had 8 freshmen on that team. That was something.
What was practice like?
Yeah, practice was awesome. The very first practice was great. Jim Calhoun says, all my freshmen, do you remember that sweet guy who came to your home and sold you on UConn? Promised you all these things? Well, you will never see him again. And I'm telling you, all of us just looked at each other like, what have we done? And you know what? He didn't lie. We never saw that kind-hearted gentleman ever again. He didn't lie to us.
By the way, it bears noting, and he'll let you know too, but Scotty Burrell, the first player to be drafted in the first round of the MLB and NBA drafts.
That was a stat that I used to brag about. Scott's like, he's still my big brother. We actually have a podcast together, and he's just such a humble guy. I have told that story, and there have only been 2 players to ever be drafted in the first round of 2 sports. It's Scotty Burrell and, do you know?
Go ahead.
Kyler Murray. Only 2.
Great call by you. I would not have gotten that.
Yeah. Well, before Kyler Murray, no one ever got Scott Burrell.
You're right.
He was drafted out of high school by the Seattle Mariners. And by the Charlotte Hornets in the first round. It was 1993.
It's just crazy when you think about the athleticism that it takes to achieve that feat. As Demery will head back to the line, 12 points, 7 assists for him tonight.
And I can hear people now scrolling through. Danny Ainge, Dave Winfield, Bo Jackson, Beyonce. Nope, and nope. Only 2 ever.
Did you see it out of Scott right when you started playing with him?
1,000%. You know, one summer, you know, he wasn't on scholarship. Actually, the Toronto Blue Jays paid for him to go to school, and I said, let me just see. They said you could throw 95 miles an hour when you were in high school. So we grabbed a couple mitts and we went outside of our dorm. And let me tell you, I don't know if it felt like 195 to me when I caught that thing. It was something special.
Oh, look at Demery, just took the ball out of the hands. He's got Ross.
How about the athleticism? Again, not backing down, taking the contact by Ross. I like the challenge too. You know, look, you can't back down. You want to play the right way. You have to be physical. Nothing easy, even though you're down big.
2 shots for Jaden Ross, who has shown us that athletic ability throughout the night.
And that was Khalil Farmer who took that foul. He's seen some good minutes, good play coming from Hofstra.
And they certainly have a lot to figure out, does UMass Lowell, with the 12 new players. But you get a guy like Farmer, you get a guy like Jared Fry. Yeah, that sums up the night for Pat Duquette. But his team, you say this often, when you get tested by the absolute best, or one of the absolute best teams in the country, you benefit in the long haul when you see different competition. They'll never see anything more challenging than this night.
Well, if nothing else, it shows you what you have to work on. You know, whatever those deficiencies may be, taking better care of the basketball, cleaner cuts, coming to your passes. These games aren't, you can't just take them as losses. You learn more from yourself through losses than you do in wins.
So true. Austin Green, the Texas State transfer, has high expectations for his ability. Hey, it's a Premier League double dip on NBC at Peacock. Tomorrow, league-leading Arsenal visits surging Sunderland. Then it's Chelsea and Wolves from Stamford Bridge. The Premier League, live all weekend on NBC and Peacock.
I don't miss it. Not in my house. It is prime time. We do not miss a Premier League game, especially when they're on Peacock. They're easy. We're City fans in my house, so I know. If any issues out there, any fans, please tweet John Fanta City. Manchester City is my team. Send all your tweets to John Fanta.
And then Reed tried to hammer it home. Yes, it is. And that'll count for Terrace Reed, who has 20 points, 20 and 10, his 6th 20-point game of his career in his return to the lineup tonight.
Manchester City became and you know that I played soccer as a kid, was on the under-19 national team and all that good stuff. I give you my stats all the time, so you already know all that stuff. But one of my teammates, my rookie year, John Amici, is from Manchester, and his team was Manchester United, and I didn't know anything about City, but I just wanted to disagree with him, and that's when I became a City fan, just out of spite of John Amici being a fan for United. And ever since, that was back in '95.
Man City at 6-1 and 3 as Reed denial there. Sean Simmons.
And they're in second place behind Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken.
8-1 and 1.
Liverpool struggling a little bit this season. Like them.
6 and 4 for Liverpool.
Sunderland surprising a lot of people as well. You don't want to get me into it, John. Let's talk basketball right now, okay? At least for 8 more minutes.
Here is Stewart. Stewie, as they call him. Turnover this time.
Stewie's, it's used lightly at UConn. Brianna Stewart is Stewie.
Yeah,
even though she's gone, you got to be careful with that one, Jalen.
And Gino's team rolled past Louisville earlier this week. More to come from Hartford on a Friday night.
Track meet. St. John's, one of the most prolific lineups in college basketball, led by Zuby Ejiofor. Rick Pitino, obviously. What else can you say? Hall of Famer. He really knows how to put it together, but Nate Oates has got a squad in Alabama. That's going to be like a March Madness game tomorrow.
As Demery hits. By the way, you saw little Leo Mullen there sitting in the stands. Leo and Sarah, the wife of Bobby Mullen, the SID at UConn, and Leo, his son. And we know SIDs give up a ton of their time. This is College Sports Communicators Week. We appreciate all our SIDs.
Yes, we do.
Leo staying up late to watch his Huskies.
Oh, it's Friday. You know, no school tomorrow. As long as he's not eating that cotton candy, we'll be fine.
This has been an all-out Connecticut display tonight as Stewart commits the foul. There's Leo. Mom Sarah.
Bobby, he's focused, too. He's dialed in.
He is. Well, Bobby told us that every time he goes to play basketball, he doesn't refer to it as hoops, he refers to it as Huskies.
Wow.
That's a committed young fan.
That really is.
Well, and you know this area so well. I
Yeah.
mean, this is an area that just absolutely adores their hoops on both the men's and women's side.
Winters are long, and that's what gets these fans through these long, cold winters. Men and women's basketball.
And the women are the reigning national champions.
That's right, they are.
Gino keeps on rolling. Sarah Strong's pretty good. And Stewart is fouled. So you see this score, and people, if they're just joining, or maybe they'll just look at a box score and say, okay, well, they dominated. But the story for you from the UConn side of things is what?
It's they answered the bell. Dan Hurley wanted better on the defensive end, and that's really what it started with. You know, their game against New Haven, 9 of their 79 points were in transition. You know, this is not a team that's going to get out and turn this into a track meet, but look, he wants them to play mindless basketball. You don't want your guys to have to think every single play down the floor. You want them to play with some fluidity, and they did that from the beginning, and that created that big lead of play defense, let that lead to your offense. Wow.
Spencer gives it away.
Now, they are a superior team to UMass Lowell. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, but they played the right way to get that lead.
And you think about that first 100-point game since December the 9th against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
They never had a problem scoring the ball last season. The issues for UConn were on the defensive end.
That was it. They weren't a top 20, 30, 40, 50, even 60 defensive team. Solo ball, pick 6. Oh, reverse from Solo.
Yeah, I think they don't talk enough about Solo ball's athleticism. You know, that a lot of scouts want to turn him into just a shooter. He's got some athleticism and length to him. And Jalen Stewart's kid, you got to let the player catch, turn, and come down, and he just didn't allow that. But this is just a nice read defensively, shoot that gap, and then the reverse.
Some kind of wonderful is Solo ball. He's so impressive, Donnie. We've seen him evolve from freshman to sophomore, now junior season. And
Strong, got the frosted tips working too. That's when you know you're feeling good about yourself, when you frost those tips. You know nothing about that, John. I will say I had frosted tips.
You're bald.
But when I was in 8th grade,
Oh, okay.
My cousin was a hairdresser, and I let her put this foil on my head and pull my hair through, and she, yes, I'll show you pictures.
Okay.
Yep. I had a flat top with frosted tips.
Wow.
Yep. You don't become a man until you get your tips frosted, John.
Oh,
I'm just telling you.
Sounds like I'm still a boy.
You do. Yes. That's when you become a man.
Oh, the lessons that I learned from you from November until April.
Unlike any other.
Yeah, for sure. 4 on the shot clock. Smith. That's a difficult shot. Tipped out. Scramble for it. Look at the fight. In a game like this, you got bodies to the deck.
I'm telling you.
That is as much of a display of why UConn is UConn. Smith. Yep.
I mean, that's what we talked about with Milner, is he comes in and does things like that in a blowout game. Shows you how much he cares. That's just a veteran giving up his body.
That's the type of play that'll lead the film session.
Absolutely. It won't be about the score. It'll be about plays like that.
That is always, and Dan Hurley has talked about this, that he's consulted with Jay Wright in recent years. Ryan O'Connell is going to call a foul here.
Yeah, that's on Ryba down there, just grappling. I mean, that's just a heads-up play. You dive on the floor, you get it, and then you find your teammate. It leads to a three by Smith. That's just, it's awesome to see in a tight game, and probably even better in a blowout game.
The type of culture plays. Jared Fry looks like he's got potential for this team as the season goes on. It's been one of the bright spots, the leading scorer tonight for UMass Lowell, but Riverhawks take a lot from this game against one of the best programs in all the land. Another offensive board for UConn. And that'll be an over the back on Ryba. That'll take us to a timeout. We've learned about hairstyles. We've learned about all kinds of wisdom from Donnie Marshall. And we've learned solo ball's really good at hoop.
They already, I know it's early in the season, very, very early, but wow, what a game that is going to be.
Well, and Jaden Bradley's a steady presence.
You're so right. He's one of the probably the least talked about best players in the country. No one talks about Bradley.
No question about it. It'll be a fun day at Mohegan Sun tomorrow. We got a loaded weekend for you on Peacock, on NBC, from hoops to Premier League to football. It's been Terrace Reed's night with 20 and 12. An entry here to Karoma. He can't hit, but you said it. You like his presence as well. These are the guys, Donnie, that help a lot in practice.
Yeah, I mean, Karoma's well-traveled, been a lot of places, but a little undersized, but he's so athletic. You can play him, you know, at the 4. If you go small, you can play him at the 5. And again, he's experienced. He's been around. Another great voice in the locker room. A lot of wisdom.
You're right, well-traveled. He began his career at Iona,
yeah,
then goes to Salt Lake Community College. Then he ends up at UT Arlington. Then he heads to Lemoyne, who UConn played last year, and now he's in Stores. Just like his presence and what he can give as Dan Hurley goes back to the bench, and this is Uroš Paunović checking in for the Huskies. That's the power of a pronunciation guy.
look at you.
Flipped up and counted in the foul. JJ Massaquoi, the freshman, showing some signs tonight.
I will say with that pronunciation, it's better to be lucky than good, John.
Yep. Hey, spell it out in your notes. Uroš Paunović.
Now you're just bragging.
No, I'm not.
Now you're just showing off.
Massaquoi to the free throw line. 6 straight for the Riverhawks, make it 7. Pat Duquette told us, look, I'm learning my team, we're learning each other. We will get things going in the America East. They believe in their ability. They've been one of the conference's very best teams. You know, in that league, Coach Becker and Vermont are always in the equation. Certainly Bryant, Phil Martelli Jr. now at VCU.
Yeah.
Karoma, there he is.
I think this is more of a typical playing time situation for Eric Ryba that they were expecting. And we're only a couple of games into the season, but he's already gotten some valuable time. Look at him run the floor.
There's the big man.
Keeping his eye on the ball, catching it off the bounce. Really has some really good athleticism for a guy his size.
And instantly people talk about Donovan Clingan as a freshman and taking time and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're that size. You run to a spot and you're big enough they're going to find you, but just making yourself available is so important, especially on a team like UConn when they share the ball.
UConn represented on 8 NBA rosters. From Stephon Castle with the Spurs, to Andre Jackson, Milwaukee, to Liam McNeely and the Hornets, Cam Spencer with the Grizzlies, and more. 4 on the shot clock. Down to 1, and that's just straight up defense.
Does Mark Dagnall, does he count?
Yeah, sure, add him in.
And a lot of people don't realize Oklahoma City head coach was a manager at UConn years ago. There were nights where I would call Mark at 10 o'clock and he'd come and rebound for me at Gamble.
Really?
Midnight to 2 a.m. And it was just,
wow.
He was a phenomenal guy. So unselfish.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
On 3, they wanted it. Offensive rebound doesn't fall for Rezin Eleze, who's checked in for the Huskies. The freshman, 7'2". Whoa, Fry. Eleze with the rebound. What impressed you the most tonight?
Just on how they stayed together, UConn. You know, they continued to play the right way. There was a little point in the game where Coach Hurley had to open up on him a little bit. Played unselfish basketball, and I'm telling you, I've been in games like this, John. It's hard to stay within yourself when you feel like the game is just, everything's working and it's so easy. It's easy to get selfish in a game like this. They didn't do that tonight, UConn.
Largest margin of victory for the program is 70 against Central Connecticut State, January 23rd, 1996. Well, how about this? 63. A 63-point UConn win. They're 2-0.
Yeah, impressive. Again, they answered the bell. Dan Hurley didn't like what he saw defensively against New Haven and the way they played, and they fixed that quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Think about that stat. 182 to 102 for the Huskies in their first 2 games. They will take on Columbia on Monday, and then things get challenging. BYU in Boston, Arizona at Gamble.